Now, the big reveal kind of thing, like probably the biggest thing that I've changed, is the storage room over here. I have added a storage room. I totally am bordering on shamelessly ripped off Etho. What's up, everybody? A Sparrow with a Gun here from Sleepless Nights with another episode on Ftb Revelation. However, big changes have happened. You'll notice that the barrels are gone. The entire barrels are gone. And it's because the world got damaged. No, I'm kidding, actually. No, so actually it's a lot of progress that's been happening, but the first thing I want to go over is I've actually converted over to what I found out is kind of sort of being dubbed Ftb Revelation 2, but it's basically just the 2.0 version of the Modpack. The reason being, it adds a ton of stuff, and it's really, really cool stuff. Like, we got EnderIO back, for one, which is awesome. I love the conduits, I love the stuff like that, though. I forgot that the Tesseract stuff was actually from thermal expansion, so I was kind of disappointed with that. It does have its own dimensional thing, but it's super expensive. But, so we got EnderIO back. There's Red Power, or ProjectRed. ProjectRed's back, which means red alloy wires and cool stuff. Thaumcraft got added, which I was super excited about, because now it's like, and BloodMagic, and a whole bunch of other stuff. We did have to lose a couple things, but luckily for me, personally, it didn't do too much damage. The biggest hit was nuclear craft got removed. Extreme reactors and stuff like that is still in there, but the nuclear craft stuff got removed. So there was some storage areas that were missing some items and things like that, but thankfully I had not really done much of anything with nuclear craft, so I really wasn't hurting too much by that. But there was so many more benefits that outweighed everything. Funny enough, though, I actually realized I didn't need EnderIO or any of those other things in order to get power to my quarry. All I needed was RFTools, which we already had. So that's kind of a comical irony. So there's a lot to go over today. Mostly, I don't know how much progress I'll actually be doing, but I'll be showing you all the progress I have made. So let's get to it. Okay, so first off, we're in the lab. Now, you might notice this, which is a bit of an issue. Thermodynamics is still in the game. The covers are still here. The laboratory blocks and stuff are still here. For some reason, the covers are showing up black. I don't know why. It could be a shader pack thing. It could also be a texture pack thing. So I'm not really calling bug until I read up a little bit more or do a little bit more testing on my own to find out exactly what's going on here. More than likely what I'll end up doing is just burying the cable one block lower and putting legitimate blocks here instead is probably the easiest alternative. You can tell that I've already done some of that because we're no longer seeing the power line running through here. It's because I actually dug down one and did stuff like that. I actually incorporated, where is it? Here it is. I actually incorporated a power cell here as kind of an extra battery backup, and then went to the EnderIO conduit stuff for over there. And I'll get to that in a minute. That's a big surprise I want to show you guys. As for the Quarry and Reactor setup, the Quarry is actually doing really well. There's nothing really to see differently all that much. It's just kind of set up the way that it is. But we have a bigger reactor. Da, 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 da. Basically, because I had the Quarry actually running properly and was working and getting power from the main reactor here, I got an influx of copper and stuff that I needed to make another layer. Now, a couple of people have mentioned that this may not be the 100% most optimal, and that's probably true, but considering space constraints and things, I think I like this setup the best. I basically just kept the glass up higher and did another layer of water. And instead of having the weird little glass blocks, I just went up with them and then just this glass frame on top, so it looked a bit more like you were just sealing the reactor. I don't know. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. I could probably do cryothium. I have the resources. However, since it flows like lava, I don't think I could do this whole outer ring. I would have to change up the setup to where I just had like, you know, the one on one side, one on another, and then something else. Now, in one of the comments I got, there was an explanation of, I'd have to research this, but according to what I read, supposedly there was a theory that the thermoelectric generators produced more power if they had heat and cold on more sides. And what I interpret that to mean, could be wrong, is that essentially we have the pyrotheum there. But if we had pyrotheum where the redstone flux cables are, we would have two sides with heat and two sides with cold. Well, I would have to put cold there, because obviously there's glass. But the idea is that it would increase the power generation per block, so that's why I said this may not be the most efficient setup. I don't know if that's true or not, because everything I read on the wikis and things didn't mention two sides and two sides being the most efficient. It just said if it was on one side or the other. So I don't know if that's actually true, and I haven't tested it, so you guys can let me know. This is a really interesting situation here. This is a medium power cell from RFTools Power. This was a fiasco, is what this was. And as you can see, we're getting like 930 RF per tick out of this, because it's currently being pulled into the quarry right now. Now, there is a bottleneck that if I went further than this, if I went another layer up, unless I upgraded the leadstone flux cables, we'd still only be putting out 1000 RF per tick, because that's all those cables can do. So that's something you have to keep in mind too. But this was a problem. So I read up on power cells from RFTools, and I was like, okay, so we've got this low one, we've got the medium, we've got the high one. I used all of the diamonds that I had to make 2 medium power cells, because I was under the impression you could use one of these power cell cards, link it, and that's how RFTools does power transfer. Some of you may already have caught the error of my ways, but for those of you that have not, I failed to realize these are from a mod called RFTools Power, which I just assumed was an add-on. Apparently, it's a standalone. And what I should have been looking for is these, which is Power Cell, Advanced Power Cell, and a Simple Power Cell. Because these are the ones that take this, because they're actually from RFTools. So, yay. I did find a cool little trick, though. You can make a simple power cell with the machine frame, 2 diamonds, redstone, and quartz. But I don't really see the point, because a regular power cell can be done with 1 diamond, machine frame, redstone, an emerald, and prismarine shards. Now, this is a little bit of a debate for me, as far as like technically the prismarine and the emerald and stuff could be harder to get than 2 diamonds. It would just depend on your stuff. However, I happen to have a couple emeralds lying around, and I ended up making 2 diamonds, because I use them all on these stupid things, by doing the industrial craft setup, where you break down carbon and flint and obsidian, and you do a bunch of different combinations. It takes like a stack of coal. I said carbon. It was coal. I should have said coal. So you take like a stack of coal. I think it's like 8 flint and 8 obsidian or something like that, and you can make coal, like you can make 8 coal chunks, which turns into an industrial diamond, or in this case they've deprecated that and it's just a diamond now. But so I made a couple diamonds because I used all of mine, and I was like, okay, I've got diamonds, I got a couple emeralds, but how do I get these? Because I haven't found a whatchamacallit, an underwater temple, or whatever they're called. Hadn't found one yet, so I was like, how do I get prismarine shards? Okay, Sorry about that. I don't know if you guys heard it or not, but there was a big construction truck going through my neighborhood, and it was making a crap ton of noise. Anyways, Prismarine Shards, normally you would have to find all this, but with, what is this? Actually, additions, you can use quartz and basically shoot it with an atomic reconstructor, and it turns it into Prismarine. So I made 2 power cells. One's right here. And as you can see, we have it linked to a power cell card. This was a little tricky to do. The thing that's really important with this is if you have 2 cards, one for the source and one for the output, in my case it's the Quarry, don't put them in one at a time. Grab the whole however many link cards you want and just click on this area, and then just take the ones out that you want to use elsewhere and leave that one in. Otherwise they get a different link. You'll see mine's at 9 because I had to try this a bunch of times to get it to work. But you take, like I took 2, just set them both in there. They're both linked to 9, pulled the one out, left that in there, etc. So I set all of these sides to input, and there's a cable that runs up right to there, and it comes off of here. This goes to one set up to the Quarry in the mining world, and that's basically how I was getting power to it. We'll go check that out, I suppose. Even though there's not too much different here, I got tired of running all over the caves to get up to the top, so I just carved out basically a walkway. And again, one of the other additions that got added was open blocks. I think there was a couple similar ones, but open blocks itself actually got added this time. So now we have elevators. I think there was another elevator, but I like these. So I dug myself a little tunnel, and here we are. So that's how I've been getting up to my Quarry now. I don't know if this is done or not. It's still using power, so I'm guessing it's still working on stuff. Oh, no, it's still working. So I have this set up as output, and it's going to here, and then I've got a conduit set up that's now going to an ender chest, and that's dumping it into our new storage system. And so I've got this ender pouch that I can kind of throw all this stuff in here, and then that will go to our new storage system as well, which I will show you momentarily. So like I said, been doing a lot of work. I've been doing a lot of work on this. Don't really know why. I just, for some reason, was super in the mood to work on all this stuff and get it going. So we're in a pretty good spot now. Alright, so back in the lab, oh, there was one thing. We lost our laboratory doors. You probably already noticed that. I don't remember what mod that was part of, or if it was its own thing, but whatever that was got taken out in this patch, so we don't have our lab doors. Temporarily, I put camouflage doors here, and they just kind of take on the lab appearance. I don't really like them, but it's not terrible until I can figure out what else I want to do. I thought about doing a glass something, but I don't know. Now, the tank system I'm going to change as well. That might be something we tackle this episode, because with open blocks, now we have these cool tanks, which they're super cheap. It's 4 obsidian and 5 panes for 2 tanks. And the cool part with those is they basically just stack, like almost infinitely, as far as if you just add more, and then the tank has more storage. I don't think you need to put a specific drain point on them, so we can change this setup and actually connect drains and things like that. It'll be a little less complicated and a little bit more, I think, theme appropriate, that the black smelter blocks don't really work. However, we do have a ton of smelter blocks now. Smeltery blocks. Seared bricks. Excuse me. So that just means we can make a gigantic smelter now, which is pretty cool. Another big addition was this. This worked out perfectly. Oh, I do have more labs. I can fix this now. This was messed up for a while. That was a placeholder. I think this is perfect because it landed me right in front of my lab table in my bee room. We also added the genetic sampler to our Gendistry arsenal, and then I'll put the... there's 2 more. There's basically the sampler. No, that's the sampler. The imprinter and the transposer need to go around here somewhere. But, so yeah, what this basically is another open blocks elevator. And I have these little areas. I could probably do these as a lab block at some point so it all looks like it's part of the lab. But it brings us right up here, which is cool. Now, this isn't very secretive, and we had the secret door, so I want to do something where there's a camouflaged button where this pumpkin is, maybe, or maybe I could put it right there, a camouflage button right there. And what I'd like to do is like a block swapper kind of thing where it'll place a stair there or switch it to the elevator, and that way it's kind of hidden because there's an elevator up here as well. And this goes to a new area that I've been tinkering with. It's hard to show from up here, but this is kind of that... Oh wow, there's snow up here. I didn't know that. This is kind of that mountain tower, wizard tower kind of looking shape that was seen down there. I showed it off when I first started this world, and I thought it was a cool shape. I'd like to kind of do like a mad scientist observatory kind of thing up here, something like that. So I built the elevators so where we can go up here now. Wait, I passed where I was going. There we go. So that's pretty cool. It's a quick way to do it, but again, I like the whole secret lab thing, so I'll probably have to configure this to where there's some kind of hidden button. I thought about using an open computers robot and just put him right under this stair, and he could just break it and put the elevator there. I don't know. I'll have to play around, see if I can do like a autonomous activator, block breaker loop, or something like that too. That's another option. Actually, that could work. Because if the block breaker's over there, it would pull the elevator, so the autonomous activator would only have one block, the stair. It places that, and then by the time it cycles, it could actually get... That could work. I'll have to play around with it. One bad thing. Terribly bad. This compression dynamo no longer accepts biofuel. Which is terrible because it was doing work. The only weird part is it does supposedly accept seed oil, but I can't get it to accept seed oil. Where is that? Tree oil. There. Seed oil. It's right there from Thermal Foundation. So I routed seed oil from my squeezer over here, and I did like 4 different spots, and I cannot get it to accept the fluid. Now, I don't know if maybe it's because it won't accept the thermodynamic pipe or ducts, but I can't see that being a thing at all. So I really don't know what to do with that. There are a couple other blocks that use biofuel and stuff, but I think this is kind of broke for now. And so it may end up turning into one of those where for now we're just going to have to stick with the culinary generator up here, or route power to this via a power cell or cabling or something like that. I don't know, but this is not working anymore, so this is all that's powering all of my machines, which is not great because it doesn't do a lot of power. Now, the big reveal kind of thing, like probably the biggest thing that I've changed, is the storage room over here. I have added a storage room. I totally and bordering on shamelessly ripped off Etho from his Thaumcraft 3 series that he's doing. I watched his latest episode, or it was the latest at the time, and, you know, I was just playing in the background and blah, 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 and then, like, I was listening to what he was saying, and I was like, oh, he used RFTools as a storage? Really? How does this work? So I watched the whole episode where he explained it all, and thought, that's a brilliant idea. This is cool. So, for those of you that are not aware, what this is these are called modular storage units, obviously. I have 8 of them set up, and each one is, when you right-click on it, each one is set... it does have a crafting window kind of thing where you can do stuff. But it's set with a tier 3 storage module, which means that it can hold 300 stacks of items, right? So the coolest part to this is cool. Like, these work. These are kind of cool. The cool part is they don't use power. So you have to make these tier 3 cards, which, as you can see, they're not really expensive, but they can get a little, like the tier 3s, especially with blocks of gold and stuff, They can be a little expensive, but they're not like diamond or anything like that, which is cool. But the biggest thing is they don't use power of any kind. The only thing that uses power is the scanner, which I'll get to in a second. So yeah, you can store whatever. Actually, I don't know why. Oh, it's because I had a search. I was like, there should be more in here. That's better. So this is where all the barrels went, or the crates. This is where all the crates went. Is in these, and you can see they're kind of partially filled up. I had a bit of a trouble organizing them correctly, and I'll explain that in a second. So some of these are filled randomly, but it doesn't really matter because you access them through one thing, the scanner. So you can access these manually, and you can craft things. You can do 1, 4, 8, or a stack of items when you're doing a crafting recipe. This is like the Carpenter, where it's a ghost image. So you see we have 39 appetite. If I click on this and then put this back, it's still 39. So it's just a ghost image. Another cool thing that Etho mentioned when I was watching his video is if you do a recipe and you hit the plus sign, it goes to this, but then if you do another one, it just clears it. So you don't have to like clear the crafting window. Anyways, so that's kind of the basics for the module storage. Beyond that, I don't really know much. I don't know what all these are for. Obviously the sort stuff is self-explanatory, but you can store recipes, which is cool. But if there's any more to them than that, I don't know it. It was just based on what I watched in Etho's video and researched myself. So that's what I got. But the scanner is where the money's at. This is a cool block. So I do apologize, it does seem to be a frame rate hog in the UI. So we have all routable inventories. What this means is routable, from what I can understand, is it means you can put items to the storage block or pull from them. I think it's mostly the pull from them part that makes it routable. You can dump stuff into any items. I mean, any of these inventories, but the starred ones, the routable, are the ones that you can actually pull from through this window. And as you can see here, I've got the, you can double click and get the stored recipes as well. So that works too. If you click on the individual ones, you'll see what's in them, type of thing. So that's something to bear in mind. And you can search whatever you're looking for. So for example, if I was looking for diamonds, I can click all routables and go for diamond, and then you'll see how many diamonds you have. So really, really useful. It's a super cheap alternative to Applied Energistics. I think Applied Energistics is still in the mod pack, but this is a ridiculously cheaper version. Plus, you don't have to go fly around and find all the molds and stuff. But the one part that's a little weird to get used to is it goes through order of priority. So this is the first inventory it will try and place anything in, essentially. And then it'll go to here, then it'll go to here. And if it can't, it goes to whatever is the soonest free one that's highest up on the list. Hence why I said that I had to organize this a little bit. Basically what I did is I set up the drawers to go first. So if I dump cobble, it goes in the drawers first. Now this is full, so it's going back to the modular setup. And it basically, I'm using these as barrels, essentially, since I already had them. But you could put barrels actually here if you wanted to. And then these are kind of like, I had them, so I'm using them as overflow. But what's cool is this, the radius of scan. It will pick up any inventory that it can find, to my knowledge. It doesn't just have to be these modular storage. It can do the basic drawers. It can do the small storage crates. It's got the ender chest. It actually even is picking up 2 oak chests, which you can hear the spiders. Pretty sure there's a dungeon behind me, and it's picking up the oak chests for that, which I thought was hilarious. So this block does require power, but not a whole lot, I don't think. It's only storing 50,000. So you can remove an inventory from a list. For example, if we don't want this, we can remove it. You can move to the bottom, move it down, move it up, or move it to the top. And if you scan, then I should have picked that chest back up. So it scans within storage units and radius. Use XNet radius to restrict. Okay, so you set the radius of how far out you want it to go, and it'll pick up any inventories it can find. Now, that's all well and good. And let me see if I can show you guys without destroying everything. I think I can get back here. There we go. So I've got this set up where this is another power cell. It's that other power cell that I said I made 2 of them, and the one... these were the 2 that couldn't be used as tesseracts. So that wiring, that EnderIO conduit's running under the floor, and it comes up here, and then it's going into the storage scanner. And then we've got an extraction and a... what is it called? Insert. EnderIO item conduit from our Ender chest, which is connected to the Quarry. So that's basically how that works. Pretty simple. I'm going to leave that, actually, because there is some kind of dungeon back here. There's a bunch of terracotta around here, and there's, like, water and slime blocks, and I hear all these spiders, so we're going to check that out if we have time. But, so it picks up all these inventories, which is cool, but where this gets really cool, really, really cool, is this guy. Excuse me, this guy, the storage tablet. Now, again, you need a tablet, which is... oh, it's right here. So this is the recipe for the tablet. Not, again, a little pricey, not too bad. And then you include a storage control screen. Is that right? Yes. Yes, you include a storage control screen. If you can see, this screen allows you to monitor 9 different items through storage scanner. So that's what you're looking for. So it connects to this. And you take that blue chip, this guy. You would take this blue chip, I can't talk today, and you'll shift right click on it, or right click, I forget, and it links it. Then you craft the tablet and the chip and you get one of these. And essentially what this is a portable access panel. So you can search, you can craft, you can export to first routable container. Oh, I see. So you can take this and you can throw it in there, or shift click, and it'll throw it in your inventory. I did pick up from Etho, from watching his video, that if you have a full inventory, you shift click and you just drag it all in, it can kind of get stuck or lag, hence the Ender pouch. So basically the Ender pouch lets me access the Ender chest, dump my stuff in there, and then it goes through at its own pace and gets stored in the inventory. But this is basically like carrying around a crafting table and your inventory, and from what I can tell, there's no range. The only thing is it does require a charge, but it only uses like 100 RF per open when you open the thing. So it's not bad at all. And with an infuser like I have, you just basically restore the power and you're good. So that's the new storage system, the new quarry setup, and the new power structure, as well as adding the new sampler that I'm going to get into a little bit later. Well, not this episode, but later in time. We're running a little low on time. I really didn't expect all that to take so much time to explain. But like I said, I mean, I built this whole room. I set up a storage room. Like, it was quite a lot of progress that I did in my off time. So let's just go ahead and get to this thing. I don't know what this is in here. I really don't. There's water. There's slime blocks. I hear spiders everywhere. I don't know what's happening, but we're gonna investigate, I think. I think that's what I want to do. Also, there's chests around here somewhere, so there's that. And I don't know where. But I'm kind of wondering if this is just... yeah, it's just generic Minecraft slime blocks. This is such a weird... like, where's all this terracotta coming from? I feel like this has to be coming from a mod, like a mod dungeon. I don't think I've seen this in vanilla. But for the life of me... I'm drowning and getting attacked by a spider. For the life of me, I cannot say I know what mod this is coming from. And if it's not a mod, then I really don't know where this is coming from. Or where these chests are, now that I think about it, because this doesn't look like much of a dungeon. This is just kind of random slime blocks. Unless there's like a dungeon up here. I'm gonna explore a bit since we're so low on time. I'm gonna explore a little bit and see if I can't figure out where some of this is coming from. I found it! So it's not really a dungeon as much as it looks like a spider spawner. Is what's going on. Which is kind of cool. And I may not, like, break it or anything right away because I might want to use it somehow. I don't really know how I would use it yet, since we have our mob spawner in the lab. But it's not a bad... Oh, for crying out loud. Stop it for a second. Thank you. Quit. Oh, that's why the inventories were the same. It's a double chest. Okay, that makes sense. Mana Steel, Restonia Crystal? I didn't know that's what that was called. Overgrowth Seed, Bucket, Gunpowder, Coal, Iron, Horse Armor, and a Music CD. I will take it all. So, yeah, that was a little bit more underwhelming than I thought it was going to be. I thought all that terracotta stuff I was going to end up finding some modded dungeon or something. Oh, one other thing is Twilight Forest, I believe, was added in the new pack as well. So yet another thing that's pretty cool. Let's see, do I have torches in here? See, this is why I love this so much, because you can just grab stuff. Because I don't really want to use my jack-o'-lanterns for this. I'd rather just use up my torches. So yeah, I kind of apologize for not really doing a whole lot this episode. We didn't really like go and do much. But I like to think that since I had already done so much that it was kind of one of those we're just going through, you know, kind of going through what I had done in the meantime since the last episode. So I hope everybody's cool with that. Kind of more of a update video or closer to a server update or something like that, I guess. Pretty sure I'm just going to have to make more pumpkins and stuff, because I don't think this is going to work. Yeah, I just have to make more, I think. Alright. So yeah, and it'll be a little quieter in the storage room now. There is that spawner, though. I need to remember that's there, because that is interesting, and I don't know how I could use it. Oh, here's a great example of how this works now. So we can just grab all of this and just shift-click it all in there. And grab that, and then it'll just cycle everything in at its own pace. I love this storage system. Plus, it's so expandable. For example, I could break all these, put more modular storage units. I could switch these out for barrels. I could put more barrels. Like, I love that it can scan. Like, it doesn't have to directly connect. None of these are connected. They're just there. So I think that's really, really, really cool. And in some ways, I like this better than Applied Energistics because it requires so very little power, and the blocks themselves are not really that expensive. But you could technically do this with a scanner and a bunch of double chests if you wanted to. The modular ones just hold a crap ton of stuff, but that's like if you're just starting off and all you could do was the scanner. Totally works. But yeah, so that's I've got a couple things on my to-do list, like converting some of this to EnderIO conduit, or at least moving it down. You know, like moving it down. I want to convert these tanks to the open block tanks. I'll probably have to do that off camera at this point because we're running out of time. Also, big suggestions would be welcome for doors. What's your guys' ideas on doors? To make the lab a bit more labby. Oh, the other thing is with ProjectRed being added, we now have lamps. So we have the inverted white lamps, orange lamps, all that kind of stuff. I think I'm going to go with white ones for the most part. it'll add to the lab sterile type feeling. I don't know how they'll look with shaders though, because this does look very yellow. And in vanilla Minecraft, it would probably look a lot whiter, even though the pumpkins have this kind of yellow look. So I'm curious how the how the lamps will look. But anyways, I think we're running low on time for this episode. So again, I hope you guys had fun kind of getting a world tour and seeing what all I've updated. Hopefully next episode we'll do a bit more now that we've got the quarry running a little bit more smoothly and our power setup and our storage system squared away. I think it's back to building again, so I'll probably work on finishing up the last 2 that we need for the bee blocks, maybe expand the bee area a bit. Not really sure how I want to do that, because I was actually thinking of going this way for the bees originally. So, I don't know. I may have to move. I like my lab station being right where the elevator lands, though. I think that's cool. But I'm not sure. I might have to put, like, some industrial apiaries along the edge here, maybe. Because we need more apiaries to breed more bees. So, we'll see how all that goes. But let me know what you guys think in the comments. But I think that's going to do it for us for this episode. I hope you all enjoyed. If you did, leave a like. And I will see you all next time. Peace.